What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be the second video on the whole VHR swap, and I just wanted to go over a few things just to clarify what I did, at least in the engine bay and in the car, and also what I'm going to be doing in this video. So as you guys can see down here, we got the steering rack, and I've removed the regular DE line and I used the VHR line, which was off a G37 coupe. It threaded in perfectly. I did need to bend it slightly just to make it fit, but once I got them in the brackets, it worked actually pretty well. So as you can see, I got this line here, and this the actual I guess banjo bolt. Yeah, right, banjo bolt, I don't know, whatever, I'm not a mechanic. Anyway, so as you can see here, it's like from the side, and on the DEHR it actually goes up from the top. If you can look here, you'll see that the line comes from the top. So I went ahead and just removed the line from the DE and went ahead and put the VHR line. So that worked out great. Then in terms of fuel, I went ahead and just removed the fuel line that comes along here on the frame rail. And I just went ahead and swapped it with the VHR one from that G37 as well. And it lined up perfect. I did break a bracket, so zip tie for the win. But that's pretty much what I did on the fuel side. Then for the power steering reservoir, I did move it over a little bit. On the HR models, this actually is moved over and it's not here, whereas it would be here on a normal DE, because as you can see, there's a bolt hole there and then there's two bolt holes here. So I just took that bracket off and then I cut it and I mounted it with, there was a thread back here, so I went ahead and mounted it there with one bolt, and it's pretty sturdy, so that's not going anywhere, and it kind of moves it off to the side. So that was pretty easy as well. Now to the hard part, which is gonna suck, but whatever, I gotta do it. Over here, like, the VHR will fit, but the VVL solenoid will literally be flush right here, or if not, tapping against this. So as you can see, I tried to hammer it out a little bit, and I tried to, you know, kind of make my own clearancing, but it does look like I'm gonna just need to cut all of this here, like right along that line, because if I go ahead and do that, it'll have clearance for the VVL, and I'll also be able to access anything behind the engine a lot more comfortably than instead of it being like really tight up here and then having to get down below there. So yeah, that looks like a mission, but whatever, we'll get it done. Nothing that the grinder can't, you know, can't cut through. It's pretty much like, look, you could bend this, so like, this is fake. So we'll go ahead and get that done, and yeah. Alright guys, well, we're making progress. This shit looks tragic. Oh god, I mean, I just hate doing things like this, but whatever. So I'm gonna cut a little bit more around here, try to follow this line, and then come back and clean it. Might even shoot it with some paint, just so it doesn't rust. And yeah, but I hate this. Look at that. Look at that rip. Alright guys, so here you have it. I tried to make it as clean as I could without, you know, totally killing the car, but whatever, it's pretty decent. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a coat of paint just to not let it rust. But yeah, this is what I wanted to do, to go ahead and make the VHR work. You don't have to do this. This is just what I did because I wanted to make my life easier and more comfortable. But yeah, so that's it. I'm gonna throw some paint, let it sit, and she's ready. Alright guys, well, here is the final product on cutting the fake firewall. I just, you know, sanded it down, got it as smooth as I could, and I went ahead and slapped a little coat of paint on it so that it didn't rust. But yeah, I got the two heater core hoses, or the two ports, whatever you want to call them, blocked off. I got one of the AC ports blocked off. I need to go get another cap for this. But besides that, she is done on this end. Not really going to be touching anything else really in the engine bay until the motor is ready to go in. This clip, I'm going to be showing you how to do a PCV delete on a budget without really, you know, spending a lot of money. I followed the EPS tuning install guide and kind of saw what I needed. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. Here on the driver's side, you have 2 ports. You got the PCV, and then you have another open cap there. And then you got a PCV and then another open one right here. So pretty much what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be capping these with a rubber grommet that'll cap them. And then on the PCV side, I'm going to take them out and then drill them straight through so that it's wide open. Got them. And I'm going to do that up on both sides. And then I'm going to run a hose from here to a breather and then a hose from here to a breather and then have both of these capped. On the plenum side of things, you are going to be capping these 2 as well. Usually a cap and a zip tie works fine. But for now, that is what I'm going to be doing. It is very budget. It's simple to do. I'm only doing this right now just since the car is going to be NA for a little while. It should be fine. Once I go boost, I am going to invest in an actual catch can setup. But I'm just going to go ahead and take out the PCVs now and drill them out. And then I'll show you guys what it looks like after it's drilled. Alright guys, so I removed the PCV little thing here. So as you can see, you can't see straight through it. There's a spring in there, I believe. That is what releases the actual pressure once it builds up. I'm not 100% sure, but whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just drill this straight out and get that spring out so that this will be completely through and through. And it'll work just like the AN adapter that EPS sells, essentially, because that adapter is just a through and through straight port. So I'm just converting the stock one to a straight through and through port. Alright guys, so after drilling it out, you can see it's a little wider in the bottom and you can see through it. So it's pretty much just an open port. So yeah, now I can go ahead and reinstall this and it is pretty much doing exactly what I needed to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one and then get them on the engine. Alright guys, so I got those all drilled out, back installed. As you can see, I ran the hose here, a little adapter for a breather, little adapter for a breather. Don't rank me, I know the breathers are different, but I'm going to go ahead and get new ones. I just kind of put that on there for a little mock-up. But as you can see there, we got this into the PCV as well. And then you're going to want to go ahead and buy something like this from like your local auto parts store so that you can go ahead and cap those in the back and cap the plenum. So I'm going to do that now and then I'll give you an overview of everything once it's done. Alright guys, so here's the final product. We got the cap there with a zip tie. We got the PCV drilled out, routed with the adapter for a breather. Same thing on this side, PCV drilled out, routed to the adapter for a breather. Over here we got the cap with the zip tie as well. It's pretty on there, it's not going to come off. I really just used the stock hose, had some fittings and some breathers. Couple caps, it was probably like $4. So all in all, I would say if you're buying 2 brand new breathers and you're just buying caps and you're reusing these lines, maybe 15 bucks. So not too bad for sure. Definitely for a budget setup. Cool. Alright guys, so as you saw in that last clip, we went ahead and stripped the whole engine harness off of the engine, and we got everything that we need for the wiring components in this box, and I'm gonna go ahead and ship that out next week to Martin to go ahead and get the custom harness made. Also on the wiring, we got some goodies here from Alliance Racing. They go ahead and make these little 3D printed gauge pods that allow you to retain this OEM space, but it's aftermarket gauges that go in here. They're 52 millimeter little pod holders. So that's great. I think that's going to look cool. I'm waiting on one more gauge. I have here the water temp gauge, and as you can see over here in the back of the motor, I have the sensor. I don't know if you guys can see that. There it is. So I'm waiting on oil pressure gauge, and that's it. So what I'm going to actually be doing is, because I was thinking of putting an RPM gauge here, but the RPM gauge is going to be too small, and I feel like I wouldn't really be able to focus on that while driving the car. So I'm going to go ahead and just put my old boost gauge here for now. Granted, it's going to be NA, but it'll just be filling that hole for now. We'll go ahead and do oil pressure, and then we'll do water temp. So what I'm going to go ahead and do right now is take off the OEM stuff. I believe there's 2 little plastic tabs you might have to cut. Get those cut, mount up the boost gauge, mount up the water temp gauge, get them in position, and then we'll go ahead and wait for the oil pressure gauge, which should be here tomorrow, and then we'll go ahead, put that in, and have it pretty much all be done and in its final location. So as you can see, I took the engine off of the stand and we have access to the rear main seal. So I'm going to be going ahead and taking that off, replacing the rear main seal, and then probably just going ahead and mocking up the flywheel. Probably just going to thread the bolts in, but I'm not going to put them all the way tight until I have a torque wrench to go ahead and set them to the correct spec. So yeah, I'm going to set you up on a tripod and do a little time lapse. So as you saw in the time lapse, went ahead and replaced the rear main seal. Looking good. Super easy on a VHR compared to a DE. It's literally just that one seal, whereas as a DE you gotta take the lower oil pan off, do the whole rear main, the upper moons, and that shit is just annoying. So here we go, got that on. Now we're gonna move on to the next step, which is alright guys, so I got some goodies in the mail and I figured I'd announce it to you guys, the clutch setup that I'm going to be running in the Z. We have a SouthBend clutch. It is a DXD disc, which for the VHRs I believe is to hold about 575 foot-pounds of torque, which will be more than enough for me, especially for my power goals. And then we got the whole clutch kit here. We got all new hardware, all that kind of stuff. Flywheel, pressure plate. Let me get this clutch disc out of here. We got the clutch there. And then instead of running an internal slave like how these transmissions come from factory, I went ahead with the Z-Speed C-Mac delete kit, which pretty much relocates the clutch slave cylinder to the outside of the transmission, which makes it easy, and it's pretty much just like a DE. So I probably don't know if I'm going to install this in this video, but I am going to go ahead and get the flywheel all mocked up. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll move forward with installing the clutch and stuff like that. Even if it's not in this video, it'll be in the next one. Guys, well, as you saw in the time lapse, we went ahead and put the clutch on, Everything's torqued to spec. We got everything aligned. So that's gonna do it for this video. We hope you guys are enjoying the content of the VHR swap. I am enjoying doing it because I'm learning, and it's kind of just, it's a VQ, but it's a different VQ, so I'm still, you know, kind of learning and adjusting to all the things that are different. But definitely excited. So thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you guys for watching, all the comments, all the likes. We really do appreciate it. As always, guys, thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.